So, we are going live now. So, welcome to Pirate Skills B2B Leads on LinkedIn. Thank you all so much for coming, guys. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like, what happened? What was it about the topic? Or did you see the girl presenting? It was the second time now we have a female speaker. Was that the reason? 210 people registered a Pirate Skills Live ticket on Eventbrite, like 60 of you for the live stream, and 150 of you, so usually like 2/3 are showing up. So I guess we are about 100 people here. Can anybody do me a favor and check if the live stream is actually running and working? Yeah? And while you're checking it, like it and share it if you don't mind. Yeah. So, then, just a quick note about me. Who is here for the very first time? Can you give me a hand? Awesome. So, but still, I know most of the guys who are here the first time. So I'm a founder since 2008 and just couldn't stop. I was studying psychology and started my first student consultancy. I didn't consider it a startup then, but then started to build websites on niche topics like orchid care and skin issues like I developed here. Do you see that live stream? Like, hello? I'm an expert on that as well. And then over some time, I developed a passion for the marketing part of the startup life, very much so, and the technical marketing part. I think it's like the most beautiful place between psychology, computer science, and business. Yeah, dealing with data, user behavior, and managing that in a way that is creating a win-win situation for customers and for businesses. And I'm also a proud daddy of 2 little girls. And they are now 3 years old and 6 months old. And I always hope to convey that being a startup guy and a father is like a very beautiful mixture. Who else is a father in this room? Wonderful. Give you guys a hand. That's amazing. You don't know how much time and energy it takes. It's just crazy. So, you know the spiel. Please use the hashtag Pirate Skills and share images. I would love to see this meetup from multiple perspectives. And if you could share the stream, this would help us reach more people, give more entrepreneurs a better fighting chance. Yeah. And while we're at it, we're here now at Startplatz. Who's here for the first time at Startplatz? Oh yeah, that's about 20% of the room. Startplatz is a co-working space where you can rent a desk and be among your peers. Yeah, you are at home, you're always the crazy guy. My wife is a doctor, and she probably thinks every morning I'm going to this place called Smallland, like at IKEA, and then coming back. If I wouldn't bring home any money, she probably wouldn't believe me that I'm actually working here. So you don't get that feeling here from the people that are actually living this. Yeah, you're surrounded by like-minded people and can keep on learning from each other. And they would like me to mention one event, especially for the people that are more interested in the corporate marketing and startup stuff. It's called Best Practice Digitalisierung on the 14th of March. If you take this special code BPD-special, you get 50% off a $100 ticket, I think. And yeah, they're always providing this beautiful space for free for us. I'm here now renting since 5 years. Like this month, exactly 5 years. I'm very glad I'm here. So I know you're all writing notes already, I can see that, but you will also get the complete slides and recordings if you go to this wonderful URL, and I'm getting out of the way. It's getpirateskills.com/B2B leads. Yeah, this leads you to the Pirate Skills Teachable website, which is a course platform where we just upload the slides and the videos and the handouts for the past events, so you can all go back and download the past slide decks and check out the videos if this helps you progress on your journey as an entrepreneur. So enjoy that. And yeah, today we want to talk about B2B lead generation. Yeah. I wouldn't have figured out that LinkedIn like 4 years ago would have made such a steep curve up, and that it really developed into such a profound B2B platform as it did now. I really hope they're going to kill Xing anytime soon, but it doesn't look like it. Xing is growing as well, but just like for us German dudes. Yeah. So today I'm interested to talk with Laura Mauersberger from LeanIX, who I talked to before the event, and I'm really excited to see the tools and the content she uses that gets her tons of leads every week for an IT company that starts with services at 4,000 per month. Yeah, so it's no bullshit leads for any kind of wild freemium stuff. It needs to lead to qualified leads for the sale team so that they can close it. So I'm going to ask you lots of questions. Laura, please be prepared. I'm asking all of you guys and the live stream to ask questions in the meantime, so you can really soak up the information and go home and just try it ourselves. Okay? So help me welcome Laura. So, thank you very much for coming. Please repeat the listeners' questions and even mine, because we only have one working microphone. Sure. And I think the distance for this microphone is like this, otherwise it will obviously like all the time. Oh, that would be interesting. Okay. Let me sit over there and think about that. Yeah.
Thank you. So
you need to really click this.
I'm gonna go over here. So I'm Laura Mauersberger. I'm Junior Marketing Manager for LeanIX. And after hearing all of this cool things said about Startplatz, that it's really nice, has nice areas, I just wanted to say LeanIX has them too. So in case you're looking for a great place to work, a startup where all your ideas can be accepted, LeanIX is the place. So after this promotion, I will keep on talking. So what are we going to talk about today? First, I will give you a bit of context of what I am facing on a daily basis. Then one of my favorite tools, another thing I discovered, LinkedIn featured posts, and of course content, which content works, which doesn't. So first of all, what is LeanIX? We try to help companies modernize their IT architecture. So what does that really mean? Normally we address companies with over $1 billion revenue. That means they are really big ones like Adidas. And they have thousands of applications and data objects, business capabilities, etc. I mean, just in your company, you probably are using Photoshop, HubSpot, and maybe 100 more things. So in these companies, it's very, very big. So what LeanIX does, it's basically the CRM of the IT manager. You can create fact sheets, which would be, for example, Photoshop. You can say, oh, what's the criticality of Photoshop? It's not really that critical for business, but it's nice to have. So it's a really nice functional fit. And all the related things, for example, what do I need to run Photoshop and other. So what else does it do? It has reports. In this case, I'll just keep on going with the Photoshop example. We could imagine that we say, okay, Photoshop is being used in Australia, in Brazil, in France. It has a nice functional fit, as we saw before. And in Italy, they're using GIMP. And it's not that great, so why don't we just streamline everything and use Photoshop everywhere? It also has other types of reports. For example, where is our money going? How much are we spending per project? And a ton of other features you can check out on the website. And of course, in the past, usually our target audience, that is enterprise architects, had to do everything alone. That means they had to go room to room saying, hey, what applications do you use? Do you think they're good? Yes, no? And they had to write it down on Excel usually. So what LeanIX does, it really makes you be collaborative. Anybody can use it. Even somebody like me, a marketing person, can say, okay, just go into the tool. Yes, I like Photoshop. Done. Go out. So now about the process at LeanIX. How do we really work? So every time somebody comes into the website and downloads something, they are a lead automatically. And what happens to these leads? Two things. Either they are a bad fit or they're marketing qualified. For them to be marketing qualified, we have a ton of criteria. For example, the job title, that it's a CIO, an IT manager, or somebody in IT that really has the power to make decisions. Also, the company, the region. Right now, we're targeting only a few countries. For example, USA. If somebody from Japan came in, for me, that would not be a marketing qualified lead. It would be a bad fit. So once they're a marketing qualified lead, what do we do then? Well, we start sending them sequences, emails, and calling them. Then either they don't reply, then they get put into no reply, or they reply wanting a demo. Of course, they can also say, no, I don't want anything to do with you, and then they get thrown away. Then in demos, there's the same thing. Our sales team gives them a demo and sees if they really want to purchase the tool. If they say yes, they get converted into opportunity. And then the sales team starts doing the whole process, giving them a demo workspace, following up with them, etc. If not, check back quarterly. That means they get sent a sequence which says approximately once every 2 weeks, it sends an email saying, have you checked out our new features or other things? The goal of this email is to make them ask for the demo again and say, we're now ready to keep going further into the process. And from then on, demo goes into opportunity, into customer, and hopefully into upsell. I did not include churn because that's bad luck. So what do we use currently on social media? Currently, we use LinkedIn, Xing, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And Ben, I'm absolutely with you. Please, please, please remove Xing from everywhere. But unfortunately, we are in Germany, so it's being used. I fight it, but it's being used. So which one of these do we actually use for B2B organic lead generation? That would be LinkedIn, because Xing and Facebook is pretty good for recruiting. YouTube is just awareness, but it really doesn't bring me anything because I don't have any download filter. So I can't say, give me your data and then I'll give you the video. And Twitter is a nice awareness channel, but we don't really use it. So ultimately, what works best for me is LinkedIn. So what did I do in the beginning? I started writing about 30 people per day, and I added 10 new contacts per day on LinkedIn. This gave pretty good results. About 10% wrote me back saying, yeah, I'm interested in what you said, or downloaded something. But this was inconsistent. It took a lot of time. I had to search for the people, add them, and then I had some other task or a deadline, and I basically just forgot about it, and then remembered it, and then forgot about it, so it wasn't good. So what did I do? I tried to search for a tool that could automate this, and I came upon GBZ. This is a really sketchy tool. If you go to the website and you click download, it's very weird. It doesn't have nice invoices. It's somewhere from India, and you say, maybe I'm downloading a virus, but it works. So this tool lets me automatically add 100 new contacts per day and write 300 people, which I do not do on a daily basis, but we'll get to that later. So here I have a small video.
Oh, I probably killed that video. Oh, it's working.
Yep.
Amazing.
So you can see here how it looks. You click on New Campaign. You can select a message sender, connect with people, view profiles, and then you just give in the campaign name. In my case, I chose to connect with people. This means add them on LinkedIn. And I gave in the campaign name, okay, I'm going to search for EAs in the United States. Then I just open LinkedIn. The Sales Navigator works and the normal LinkedIn. I put in all the filters I want. I copy it, paste it in the link. Then I can create a personal note, whatever I want. And the really nice thing is I can use first name, last name, company name, location, so I can really make it personal. I can say, oh, how is it raining in Boston, or yeah, whatever. So a quick tip while this thing keeps on writing. When you connect with people, people usually do not look at what you wrote. So it's not that important. But when you send the messages, it is. I mean, most people don't. They just click accept or not. So then you can select the connections per day. I say 100 because that's a safe number for me. LinkedIn does not ban me with that number. And you click play and it's ready to go. So a few tips. First of all, start out small. Find out how many requests you can actually send per day. I find this is about 5% of the quantity of contacts you have. So for example, if I have 2,000 people as contacts, 100 people would be a safe number to add per day. But I would really test this out, start out small, and if you ever get an email from LinkedIn saying, hey, we think you might be spamming, stop. Just go back to the other number you had. Then, of course, don't spam. I usually actually send one message per month, but but one message per week also works. But yes, preferably one per month. So imagine if you're somebody on LinkedIn, you're getting an email every week. It's okay. Every day you would block that person. And my last tip is be personal. So I found that salesy emails really don't work for me. If I say, oh, this new poster, B2B hack, and I put in all the marketing words I can think about, all of the SEO, people don't fall for that. Try to say, I created this white paper, I put a lot of time and effort into it, I would really like you to read it. Is that a question?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Just finish and then ask the question because it's...
Yeah. So just say I put a lot of effort into it, I would really like you to read it, and I would like to have your feedback. With that, a lot of people answer. Or, for example, you can do this trick. You can filter for EAs, that's our target, enterprise architects, in, for example, the Washington area. And you can say, hi, insert name. How are you? Here one is really cold, but I heard that in Washington it's even worse. It's always worse in Washington. But at least you have that, and you Google some nice event in Washington, I don't know, the spring flowers, the President's Day, I don't know, whatever. Just Google it, put it in, and that. And then you put in one call to action. For example, by the way, check out this cool poster I did. You can't imagine how many people actually answer me, and they start a conversation with me. When Trump got elected president, it was crazy. I just mentioned a tiny thing like, oh, how are the elections going? I got so many responses from people. Many responses pro-Trump, but yeah. So, but that's another topic. But it really got the conversation started, it got it going, and in the end, these people actually wanted a demo. Because it's a natural way. When you talk to somebody, they talk back, you give, they give, and in the end, they accept the demo. So, yeah, sorry?
Now the question. Exactly that one.
Why do you write messages and contact people? Is it just a conversion thing, or that you can make 400 contacts, not 100, or what's the number?
Yeah, so with this tool, to be able to message somebody, and on LinkedIn, you have to be friends with them. So first I have to get the people as contacts, as friends, but as I said, people don't really read the message you first send them when you add somebody as a friend on LinkedIn. So that one doesn't really get any response or just a tiny bit. And then the second phase is actually sending them the real message that they get in their inbox. So that's why I did the two separate things. So one is just quantity and the other one is getting the conversion.
So the example you showed was for the second message, not for the connection message, but for the first real message after a connection.
Exactly.
And what do you write in the contact message?
You can write anything. A lot of times I just say, hi, I'm looking to connect with EAs like you. You can write literally anything. I've tried everything, so people just don't read it.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Maybe somebody will, but yeah.
Cool.
So with this, you can expect about 10% conversion rate. It's a pretty high number and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. This tool runs in the background while you're working, so it's really a nice find for me.
So you don't need any professional LinkedIn membership.
No,
So you can use the free LinkedIn version.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Meh, kind of. Yeah, like if you use Sales Navigator, you're not used to having a free account.
Yes, I have
Yeah.
the free account. I've
You
had
did?
the Sales Navigator for maybe 2 months now.
Yeah, you're like limited, but on the free one, like to 10 messages per month. Yeah,
No,
that's
no, no,
limited
no, no.
severely.
That's
Okay.
the InMail. That's different.
Okay. So what account should people be using? Like, what is the difference between the free, the premium, and the Sales Navigator?
So the difference, for example, as you said, are the messages, but those are InMail messages. I only use the direct messages. This is why I first have to add the people to be contacts with them, and then I can send them as many messages as I want. The InMail one is for if we two aren't friends, I can send you a mail, and that's the one where you only have 10 per month. But I don't use that, so you really don't need it. And for the difference is the free version is free. The next version has more InMails, and the Sales Navigator version lets you really filter out the people. So the reason I bought the Sales Navigator one was because I can filter, for example, for people who are in a certain group.
Yeah.
I can say, okay, enterprise architects that are in my group that my competitor did. So, useful.
Yeah, I find it also very useful. It costs like $50 per month, and for other tools, it's most of the time the Sales Navigator is the pre-requirement. Yeah, GPC doesn't seem to have that limit, but a tool I use called Linked Helper really says like you should be at least using premium, better a free account or a premium account plus the Sales Navigator upgrade, so you're not limited in that way. Arne just had a question that I wanted to ask you. Don't you have a limit of contacts and a limit of unanswered connections?
Yes, that exists, but the limit goes up as your contacts go up. This is why I recommend always adding about 5% of your contacts, and if ever you reach the limit, LinkedIn will send you a message. It's not very probable, but it might happen, and you can just go, I can send the link later, but there's a part where you can just remove the friend requests or connection requests.
Okay.
So,
please.
Do you delete friends after a while? Because otherwise you have to become friends after months.
no, I like having friends.
Do you have?
So
I
you
think,
don't delete friends?
well, connections, I think right now I have about 7,000 on LinkedIn, but it doesn't bother me because I don't really use it to look at what other people are doing. I just use it to send messages, so, and they don't send me any.
So she's probably challenging Till Orman with contacts on LinkedIn, right? Anastasia, what's your question?
But is it your private profile or the business profile? So do you have got now 7,000 friends, or is it your company who has got his followers?
So this is my private account. We have challenged the idea of creating a fake profile only for our company, but what speaks against it is that when you want to be added to groups, people aren't dumb. They look at your profile and they know when it's fake, and the same with people. People usually notice if you have a fake profile, and now if I were to say, okay, I'm just going to create a fake profile but with my same name, then that's just redundant. So it's really about being honest, I think.
Okay, like this is the first part of this whole thing. So please ask your questions about the messaging and contacting hustle on LinkedIn now, because the next part will be about seeding content within LinkedIn groups, which is a different game. So you had a question, the woman? Yeah.
Just one question. 10% conversion. The conversion was someone who downloaded,
Yeah, good question.
or was it like answering to message?
It's either people that have downloaded actively something, or people who have answered my message but answered the message saying, yes, I want a demo. So I don't count, yeah, the weather is great here in Boston as a conversion.
And another question is, so for example, if you work for an agency and you have multiple clients, you can't use this strategy. It's only for your own company.
Sure, you could use these. It depends on how different your clients are. If you say, for example, oh, I have one person contacting marketing people and the other company contacting developers, there's no problem. Because in the LinkedIn filter, you can just filter for developers and marketing people.
But when you look to my profile, you see I'm working with
It is difficult. Like you should be thinking about whether you should be generating leads for multiple companies and not just your own. Like Power Skills is all about building your own business, doing your own shit, yeah, and not just helping other people get rich. But it is a problem. It is indeed, it is a challenge. The Google guy.
Yeah. So, do you have a time frame between when you make the first connection and then when you decide to start talking to them?
So the question is, how long do you take until from the connection to the first mail?
So it's usually about 2 weeks, but that's just because I have one campaign running that's add people and another campaign running 2 weeks later that's messaging. But there's not really a reason.
Say something to your targeting. I mean, do you target broad or do you target?
Repeat the question.
So there's somebody in the back asking how my targeting is, if it's broad or job title. So with the GPZ tool, I actually target as much as I can. So I try to filter it down. I filter by region, I filter by job title, I filter by how big the company is. So I really try to get it concrete because I can. So why would I open it up more?
Miriam?
Have you compared this to sponsored in-mail message on LinkedIn? Are you going to talk about this topic as well?
No, I'm only doing organic.
Alright, okay. Because we've got some experience with sponsored in-mail messages, which is a similar tactic, but you just pay per click.
Yes.
So it would be interesting to compare in-mail, sponsored, and organic.
We're doing that at LeanIX currently, but we could email later and I can put you into contact with the correct person.
Alex, and then Snea, and then Julian. Yes, we try to be better at repeating the question live stream. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Alex.
I just wanted to ask because Ben mentioned in the beginning that your clients are kind of big, right? So I don't know, 4K plus a month. Can you say something about like what's the conversion to the paid thing? Is it that this thing brings, I don't know, 1 client a month, 10 clients a month?
Very good question. So not only what is the 10% conversion rate to people giving signals that they are qualified, but actually conversions to sales. Like out of 100 people that say, give me a demo, how many do your sales guys close?
For this question, I'm going to hand over to the VP of Marketing at our company.
Can you take the microphone, please? It would be really valuable.
Hi, it's Simon. Yeah, so we typically would say we start from, if we get this 10% conversion, that would be MQLs. So if we get 100 MQLs, we want to get a 10% into a demo. So that would be 10. And out of that 10 demos, 5 would go on to a Salesforce opportunity, and another 50% we want to close. So that's to give you a feeling. So that's not, I think it's a decent outcome from that leads. Does that answer the question?
Does it answer? Really? 2.5% of demo requests. Did I get that?
No, MQLs.
MQLs.
And the MQL is, you did that already, right? So it's you only message people who are MQL, right?
Yes, I try to narrow it down as much as possible. Of course, some fall through, but yes.
Yeah, cool.
But the MQL is the guys that make it through the 10%, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that's it. So out of all the messaging, the MQLs are 10%.
No, I understood that the MQL.
I understood that you did the first thing and you figure out the MQLs. So the EAs, you only contact EAs, and all EAs are your MQLs, right?
Not all, but yes.
What says the what was your 2.5 people?
Yeah, we reach out.
So MQL is defined somebody who takes active action. So still, if it's a potential target, so it meets all our criteria, the company is large enough, the role profile is correct, they are in the correct region, Laura would potentially target them. So out of 100, 10 would be MQL because they do actually something.
I see.
So that's how it works. And from that 10, again, we get 10% in a demo, and from there, around 50-50 goes down to the funnel.
Thank you very much for being open about your numbers, Simon. So that's always important at the Pirate Skills stuff, yeah? We asked our speakers to be very honest before they talk, so we know that they really have done their shit. So I want to thank you, LeanIX, for being so transparent, guys. Give them a hand. It's really wonderful. That's rare. That's really, really fucking rare. So, Julian.
Why don't you like sing? And is LinkedIn especially good for international leads or German leads as well?
I don't even know where to start and where to stop. Sorry.
Not the product itself, but the audience.
So the beautiful question is about the Xing, why we kind of not like it. And for me personally, it is having to do exactly the same shit on two different platforms for the same fucking people. Yeah?
With way less conversion.
With way less conversion, and I have to do it in German, which kind of kills me. Yeah?
The audience is German.
If the audience is German and you're selling to German customers,
But still, nothing work for them.
Yes.
I just keep talking. I need to check that the live stream is actually working.
So, any other questions, or should I can't go to the next slide. Yeah.
Can you tell roughly like what share these leads make in the overall lead setup roughly? So is this something experimental that gives 2% of the leads, or is it?
No, so currently I'm in charge of what is social, and this is the main, the GPZ tool, and the next thing I'm going to show is the main channels I use, so it's about 30%, 25%, depending on if we have events or not. Yeah.
All right. Stream is working beautifully.
Okay, so to the next topic.
Can I ask you something before that? before that. So if you would have to split between messaging people and doing the LinkedIn group Juju, yeah, how does the demand generation, like if you have the pie chart, how much percent is contacting and how much is LinkedIn group magic?
So I would actually say that the LinkedIn group magic is bigger, but the contacting is more direct, and it gives me an advantage, which is, as I'm already talking to these people, they talk back. While on a LinkedIn group, when I post something, it's usually, for example, a white paper or a poster, they just go to the group, download it, and then I have to send them an email saying, hey, I'm Laura, I saw that you downloaded something, they ignore me. So it's way better if you directly talk to them on LinkedIn, because then they answer you, and then they download something, and then there's a back and forth.
So give me a number. If you would have to give it a number, like 30% of good leads come from that and 70 from that, what would it be?
It would actually be a 20/80, I would say. But
Which is which?
20 is the GPZ tool, but that is because I use it once per month.
Could you be using it more aggressively?
I could be, but I don't want to annoy people.
I get that. There was one last question before we continue.
Yeah, quick question. I mean, since we're in Germany, not using the same, is there anyone interested in the same tool as the GPZ tool from Sing?
Oh yeah, that's a very good question. So is anybody interested in a tool like GPZ or Xing? Please give me a hand. Yeah, look, please live stream, look at that reaction. Yeah. So raise love, please do it.
Can I say something? So we actually contacted the GPZ guy and asked him, hey, can you do it for Xing? He said, sure, and then I didn't hear back from him.
Oh, please do it.
Yes, so if you do it, please contact us. That would be awesome.
Okay, let's roll.
Yeah. So now to LinkedIn groups and featured posts. So what did I do at the beginning? I started adding about 10 relevant groups per week. Why is that? You can only have a backlist of 10 groups that are accepting your request. So you can't actually add 30 at a time. And I started posting daily in each group. So what happened? I saw that more and more leads came in. And the really nice thing about LinkedIn groups is it's scalable. There are thousands of groups. Even for me, I think I have a pretty narrow target. It's hard for me to find the correct people, but even with that, on LinkedIn there are thousands of groups. Well, maybe not thousands, but a lot. So right now, I'm part of 80 groups on LinkedIn. Yeah, there's a question?
Isn't it a problem since, I mean, if you have some people who are in like multiple groups, you're actually posting in the same span?
Yeah, but for example, right now, I usually contact groups that have a lot of members. So for example, one has 200,000 members, the other one has maybe 500,000. So it's not really a problem. I think it's more about the awareness, because if they didn't see it here, they see it there. So we started posting in these groups, and we saw that actually a lot of leads came in, and on a daily basis. It was really nice. There were people commenting, you could answer, and then of course you could do the next step directly into a conversation with them. And then all of a sudden in October, this was last October, something really cool happened. So all of a sudden we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leads just fluting in. I had no idea why. I was very happy, but I didn't know. So I started going through each group, and then I saw that one group had actually pinned our post. And on the email, I don't know if you guys know this, but LinkedIn sends out an email maybe once per week, depending on your options. They had also posted our, in this case it was a poster, they had posted it. So they sent it to their 2,000 contacts. this was amazing. I didn't know how it happened. I started investigating, and it was because the content, the poster, was so popular. So many people had written on it. So many people had clicked it that LinkedIn said, oh, this must be nice. We'll just push it up. So that was really nice. And I skipped to the next slide. Yeah. So how can you get a post featured? Either you can do it organically by having a lot of clicks and a lot of people comment, but that's probably very rare. The other way you can do it, you can ask group administrators to just feature it. There are a lot of administrators out there who will do it for free. Others, you will have to pay for it, but it really pays back. You can also ask them to send this as an announcement. That means that the post isn't only featured at the top of the group in LinkedIn, but it's also sent to the inbox of every single member of the group. Sorry. And if you remember, before I said that I'm part of 200 of groups that have more than 200,000 members, then that's 200,000 people who receive this post in their inbox.
Which inbox? Email or LinkedIn inbox?
LinkedIn inbox.
Okay.
The email is another topic. And the last thing you can do is you can actually ask to be made into an administrator. This really helps because then you can do it yourself. Could I have a glass of water?
Sure.
Okay. So asking them to be made into an administrator might seem crazy, but it actually worked. I tried it with every group, and eventually I got made into two. I'm sorry, I have to drink a bit of water. Any questions in the meantime?
What was the content that actually created this kind of effect? Like, how do you choose what to post on, like, LinkedIn and, for example, like, what would the content be like?
That's the last part.
Could you repeat the question still? Cheers. But I didn't listen. I was getting her some water. All right, yeah. We're going to get to that question and then repeat it at the end when we are at the appropriate part. This is really good stuff, right? Like getting into the inbox, LinkedIn inbox of so many people by making it a featured post that's just crazy cool. Are you ready to continue?
Yeah, thank you. So, how did our marketing qualified leads really grow? So you can see that we were about here, January, March, May, July, September, and then all of a sudden it skyrocketed. And one of the really nice things is it should have skyrocketed even more, but around this time we decided to focus on certain regions, so other leads automatically fell out even though the job title was correct and everything. So yeah, nice.
So what's these colors like?
Regions.
Regions.
So you might have seen that here you have a drop. So what do you guys think happened? Why didn't I get as many MQLs in November as I did in October?
Black Friday.
No?
Black Friday, Thanksgiving.
Did you get blocked?
No. So at the beginning, I thought maybe my groups aren't interested anymore. Maybe I've contacted all the possible people that I could have, and they all downloaded it. I don't know. I didn't know what happened. I was really frustrated because I just thought I would now sit back, relax, do nothing. These groups would do everything for me. Yeah, but it didn't work. So, turns out it was the content. In October, we posted a poster. This poster worked very well. It's a very visual poster. It has a lot of graphics. It's easy to read. Somebody can put it on the wall, see it from afar. Very nice. And in November, I posted a white paper. I think it was about 16 pages long, talking about machine learning, really deep, really nice. I thought, perfect content. No, it wasn't. It didn't get any clicks. It was horrible. So what do I recommend? Don't have only one group where you post things. Take maybe a big group and then a bunch of small ones. Take the small ones and test your content. So then in November, I tried to post a white paper, I tried a presentation, I tried another poster, and I always saw the same thing. Posters just worked really well. I think about 10 times as well as a white paper. So it's a huge difference. Concretely, template posters, for example, this one here, you can't really see it, but it's a template. So it shows the architects how they can represent their business capabilities, and it's an example of what they should do and best practices on the side. This one is just an overview of the data model we use. It also works very well. And there's one white paper, which does work good, but it's not a white paper, it's an ebook. And it's a success kit. So it says everything you need for a flying start and long-term success. So again, it's kind of template. It's a, here you go, here you have everything at once. Yeah. Any questions?
What did people have to do to download these things? Did you send it to a landing page or?
So what did people need to do to get those ebooks or posters?
So they have to go to our website and fill out a form. At the beginning, we had a very small form, just saying, oh, I want your name and your email address. But that didn't help us qualify. I spent hours and hours searching for the correct person. Who was John Smith? Was he an architect? Was he the CIO of such and such company? There were thousands of results. So now they actually have to fill out a form with name, job title. Their location gets set automatically via IP, and the revenue of the company, if it's bigger or smaller than $1 billion revenue.
Cool. Any more questions? Yes, please.
So, like, I mean, this is clear for the ebook, like, for example, for the poster, does it then need to just download all the data or something on your website, or what is it?
So the question is, how is it different between a poster and an ebook? And you think it's clear on how the ebook's being done, and that it should be somehow be different for the poster?
No, like you post a poster on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And then there's a link under it. So where does this link lead? Does it lead to a download of some sort?
So is there some kind of low-res preview you actually post? Could you talk about that, please?
Yeah, so actually, one of the things that I've noticed is that if on LinkedIn I post a picture and I post a link, the picture is not clickable. So you can't click the picture and go to my website. You will just get a bigger version of the picture. So what we have really focused on is with meta images. So I put in the link, I leave the preview image, and I make sure that the preview image actually shows the poster. And that works very well because people say, oh, I like it, I want to click it because I want it bigger. Oh, no, wait, it takes me to the landing page. I'm already here, let's download.
Perfect, that's beautiful. Alex?
Do you add some kind of tracking codes to the links?
Yes.
Do you add some kind of tracking codes to the links? How do you track your links?
So I track it with HubSpot. I don't know how many of you guys use HubSpot here. Also.
So sorry for you guys, so sorry.
Yeah, but you can either use the HubSpot tracking tool. If not, you can use Google Analytics, whatever tracking tool. Bitly I used at the beginning. So just use it. That way you can see what campaign works and what doesn't. One thing I have noticed is, of course, with the GPZ tool, when you send links, it's better to send the real link, like in my case, LeanIX.net/downloads, than to send a Bitly, because people are really scared that it's a virus or that it's something not good. So there you have to choose between being able to track it or having a real open, easy link for people to trust.
So a solution I would suggest is called PixelMe. I use it for the getpirateskills.com links you saw pretty much everywhere. It has, first of all, the trust thing because you can just put it on your own custom domain. But in addition to that, you can change the letter part and customize. For example, get.pirateskills.com/feedback leads you to the type form for the feedback for this meetup. But you can also add retargeting pixels, even LinkedIn retargeting pixels, to your clicks. That means if you guys downloaded or looked at the slides, for example, so I want to be really transparent about that afterwards. You get added to a Facebook retargeting group and to a LinkedIn retargeting group, even though I sent you to a domain that is not mine, actually. If you send people to your own domain, tracking is not an issue, right? But what if you send people to SlideShare, to YouTube, or somewhere else? You can easily do that with a solution called PixelMe. It now has, I think I got an email today that it even works together with Buffer now. So that is a beautiful thing to do. Any questions about that? Yeah? Oh my God, question from live stream.
Sure.
Yeah, you showed examples of the poster. Here, one. Make it big and beautiful.
Can I maybe go on to Chrome?
Yeah, sure. Just switch to Chrome. And let me just check that we have it in the right browser, in the right window. Real action is what I really love. So let's see.
No compromising windows open.
I hope not. I can even show you the PixelMe thing. This is really meta now. Yeah.
So where's the
So
Chrome?
just Command T for the new window and go for it. So Laura's going to show us some real examples from LeanIX.net.
So this is really weird because here it's not showing and I have to look there.
The download section.
So here, for example,
how to answer the top questions of enterprise architect stakeholders.
Yeah.
Can you open it?
I'm trying to.
Left clicking is really a challenge on a Mac, I know.
No, I have a Mac, but that one is weird.
Yeah, I know. I feel it. Laura Mauersberger.
So now you know where you can contact me.
Can you make an ad out of the TM? You really need to show me how to do that TM thing, though. I was looking for that. This is a QWERTY keyboard, not a QWERTZ. So you're asking just like a billion or less. Yeah, right. It's very simple. Very simple.
What?
Just out of curiosity, in this room, who's working for a company that's making more than $1 billion?
You bet.
Yeah, what's the companies? What are you working for? Deutsche Telekom. Customers. You have more than 1 billion customers. Which company are you working for?
We have a startup and we have customers that make more than 1 billion.
Okay, cool. What startups are you doing? Please pitch yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
So we compare higher education degrees. We have a huge amount of grade distributions, and for Germany we have tons of IQ and personality tests. And so when you're a big company and you get zillions of applications, we have a very sensible metric of basically pre-sorting these applications.
What's the name of the company again?
Candidate select case.
What?
Candidate select case dot
CandidateSelect.de.
.de. Okay, wonderful. Miriam, where are you working? You're taking a break. So now you got the mail, but of course you get it to your own mail, so you can't show it to me, right?
No, it's there.
I've got a trick how you can check out the poster. Yeah, just go to this website and enter your contact data.
But you can see it.
You can? Can you show?
Yeah. So first of all, I just wanted to show the form before. She said it's pretty long and it's pretty annoying to fill out. And as I said before, yes, it's a long form, but people actually do fill it out. So the reason why we do it this specific is before we really spent hours and hours qualifying. So maybe one contact takes me 5 minutes to qualify, and when there's so many coming in, I really can't. It's too much.
Okay. Look at this. This is such a beautiful moment. Laura's bot is talking to herself via intercom. That's Laura's profile picture, right? That's so meta. That's amazing. By the way, you can see by the wonderful plugins I have here installed what kind of retargeting setup they're using here. Yeah, you've got a nice HubSpot with the LinkedIn marketing solutions and the LinkedIn ads. We get Intercom coming up with the HubSpot forums, the Google Tag Manager managing it, the Google Analytics, LinkedIn Analytics, the Facebook Connect, and all the widgets. What I'm really bummed out about, why no Facebook Pixel, Simon? What's happening? Like Facebook just doesn't mean anything, like in the B2B high-ticket world? That's really interesting to me. Okay, awesome.
So now you can click next. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that it's worth it, and I didn't see less people when I had less. So people really don't care if they have to fill out one drop-down field more or one drop-down field less. It's the same conversion approximately from page view to, in my case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are most of the people honest, especially this 1 billion thing?
Most of the people are honest, minus in the 1 billion thing. So that's a test we're currently testing out. It's not that most people who say they have a revenue bigger than 1 billion, it's true, but there are many who say, no, we have less than 1 billion, and then it's sometimes true, sometimes not, and sometimes it's a semi-truth. For example, if you were telecom and you probably have a ton of subsidiaries and there's telecom IT, and telecom IT doesn't make 1 billion, but it's actually part of 1 billion company, so it's a gray area. But we're making that smart. So this, for example, is one of our posters. You can see, let me make it a bit smaller, or should I leave it like that?
I was making it bigger.
Okay, so here you can see the stakeholders, for example, from a developer to a CTO, depending on the operational focus and the strategic focus. And here you can see the key questions which each stakeholder could ask the enterprise architect. And then there's a picture showing how you can actually answer it. So one of the problems EAs have is that stakeholders sometimes don't think they really need a tool. They don't need all of this time, that they're not that important in all cases, that they just do one part of their job. So here you can really say, no, look, I can help the developer answer questions like who's responsible for a microservice, how can I create a monolithic application, or how can I cut it into a microservice, or which microservices do we use, the dependencies, etc. Or you can ask a CTO who will ask, oh, where do we face risks through technology obsolescence, or what is our roadmap? So here, a lot of EAs downloaded just because this way they know what do people ask and how to answer. In my case, for example, if somebody were to ask me, how could you present your case in front of a financial manager? I'm not really sure I could go to our financial manager and say, oh, look, marketing helps because we get leads who make money, but other than that, I don't really know how I could help him. And this way, people really know.
That's really very interesting. Would somebody like propose their case and ask the question, what kind of poster would you create if you were me? Anybody was wondering like, okay, how does this apply to me? and would like to share that so we can maybe do on the cuff a few ideas for posters. From the live stream, they can
I
ask
can
it too.
show another one that works for poster escape button.
Is it? It's in the. No, it's not. It's not really in full screen. Nobody would like to know like what kind of posters would make sense for them. Yesterday I was in a workshop and I was telling them that posters convert a lot better than ebooks. And the question came back like, are you even taken serious if you are just posting posters, which is so much more simple to create than an ebook? And it seems to be working. Yeah, qualified leads are coming in. The question.
So the question would be, what kind of poster makes sense for us?
Okay, so you are.
We're working with HR departments mostly, and our task. I mean, this.
Can I give you the phone, please? So you're working with HR departments.
Yes. So and our task would be to basically persuade them that they don't know enough about higher education degrees previously, and that knowing about higher education degrees helps them to make their selection process more efficient, and perhaps helps them to get new employees, new young professionals that then show better job performance after the act.
Do you have an answer for that?
So in that case, I would on one side put all of the types of degrees that exist, and depending on each degree, the personas or the students that are targeted. And on the right side, I would put an extra, what was the last thing you said? The last thing you mentioned.
So that the students or that the graduates that were very good at university also then have better job performance.
Yeah, and then I would put on the right side what you just said. So the conversion rate from students to the better job performance or things like that. So on the right side, a bit of data, like cold data, what converts better and how and why. And on this side, just all of the possible careers and the job offers, for example. So that way the HR person actually sees, oh, okay, he just gave me all of the information I need on one poster. And after that, hopefully they will give you their data, and then you can contact them and say, oh, look, what you just saw here, I can actually help you with this in more depth.
Very cool. So who creates the posters in your company? Can you step a bit more into this area? Who's creating the posters? What tools are you using?
So actually, our posters are not that flashy. They're actually more simple, a lot of text, but we have tried other ones. So we have a microservices one, which has a lot of big, beautiful images, and it's very nice, but it doesn't work this well. And this one that's actually not that pretty works very good because it's a template and it really has what they need. In this case, business capability map. It's kind of like you have an application and under which, what's it called? Under which category can you put the applications, etc. So business capabilities is sort of the same thing, and this helps them know where they should put what. Answering your question, usually in the marketing team, we create it on a PowerPoint, and then we send it to the designer, but 99 designs. But we basically send it to them. It looks very similar, it just needs a bit font adjustment, etc. So we don't trust that much 99.
So how many posters do you create per month?
So currently we are creating one poster per month and one white paper. The goal is to have a new piece of content every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. This is why also back in November I didn't have that many leads, because in November the pin post I did was a white paper because it was the newest one. Yep. So yeah.
Julian, what's your question?
Why the poster? Like, do you think people actually print it out and hang it in their office, or they just look at it? And do you think people use LinkedIn on mobile and then the poster format is totally wrong on the screen? Like maybe
So the question is, the posters. Do we expect people to actually print them out? What is the advantage over like a white paper, and how about mobile? Yeah, and posters.
Like more the A4 or.
Yeah, exactly. More in contrast, like to a mobile optimized format.
So for the infographics, we have also done them, but an infographic doesn't really work behind a download wall. Usually, or at least we have experienced that people are not willing to give out their personal information for infographic. But yes, for a poster, we have a poster, the microservices one, no, DevOps, which we created into an infographic. It's the same content, people did not want it. It's now a free content on our blog.
You think people print it?
Yes. We actually have a lot of printed copies, and you guys might think, oh, it's really ugly, but imagine that this were best practices for marketing B2B lead generation, and in each of these tiny little cases, it said, okay, use GPZ tool. This was, for example, tools. This was things you can do on LinkedIn, etc. I can imagine that even if it's not a really flashy, beautiful poster, you would have it on your wall to look at it.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
I think it's also about the digestibility of the information. The internet does not reward effort. It somehow rewards easy consumption of information. And an ebook and a white paper can even be overwhelming or more appropriate for a later stage client in your marketing funnel. And it's so much easier to digest a poster than an ebook. You want to add to that?
Yes. I was actually going to say that also. Currently, what I'm saying about leads marketing qualified leads is for the awareness stage. So I guess you're all familiar with awareness, consideration, decision making. So we have noticed that for awareness, this is the #1 download. But of course, for a decision-making process, maybe something like how the integration service now with LeanIX works best in a really long white paper, or how to use GraphQL in a really detailed white paper. So it's a long read. As you said, you have to put effort in it.
Yeah.
It's not something fast, because people, when they come here, they're not thinking about reading usually. They just want pretty content.
So we don't call it like awareness, consideration, and decision making, but we call it usually like tofu, mofu, and bofu. Yeah, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. That is a huge point to when you create posters like that or content, to think about that you at least have one or two for the upmost segment, for the top of the funnel. People who are not yet fully aware of the problem, and you point a flashlight to their pain point, and then help them consider the solutions available in the whole range, but not only just your solution. And then the bottom of the funnel is where you help them make the decision that you have the right feature set or a good fit, good price fit. You answer all their frequently asked questions and stuff like that. Okay, so there were some questions. Let me have some. Miriam, then Anna.
Who are you targeting with the posters? Like, do you have different target groups, like operators, like DevOps, or more the IT decision makers?
So who are you targeting with the posters? You're seeding them in the groups, so I guess the question is, how do you decide which posters go into which group?
No. I mean more like white papers are more for decision makers, so it's more a strategic approach, whereas posters can be more geeky and detailed, so you potentially target more the people who are operating on stuff, so DevOps or something.
So the question is, do you create different content for different stakeholders that you want to target?
We have different kinds of content, for example, blockchain or DevOps, more for IT people, but mainly we only have one type of one type of person we contact. So it's really the enterprise architect, followed by IT manager, CIO, but real close. So we don't really have like 5 really different types of people. For example, a developer for us would not be a marketing qualified lead.
So they all get the same content?
Yes.
Okay.
The ideal thing is that after this, for example, once we have their information, ideally they would have, for example, an email saying, oh, now that you saw this, maybe you would like to read a white paper in detail about how to do this, business capabilities in concrete. Or if they downloaded our microservices poster, you would later then give them more content about microservices in a white paper and then blockchain or similar topics.
Okay, Anna, your question is?
It's kind of twofold. First, is your, I don't know, your map or something like that always very connected to your product, or do you have an approach like what is a problem of my target audience and how can I solve the problem very visually, and how do you come up with all these ideas for making these great posters?
Okay, so I already forgot the first part.
Is it always very connected to your actual product?
Yes and no. We try not to be too obvious. So, for example, I'm going to take a white paper. It's easier to explain. Out of 20 pages, we might write one page about LeanIX. The other 19 are about microservices, but all the screenshots are done in LeanIX. So whenever we can, we put it in, but we try to be discreet, so we don't have like 100% by LeanIX white paper or poster. Or in this example, somewhere here in the text, it says, oh, and LeanIX can help you by doing this and that. Or in the stakeholders poster where you saw the screenshots, there's screenshots in LeanIX. So if they want to answer their stakeholders' questions like that, then they have to buy LeanIX or do them themselves.
So your approach is, how can I solve an actual problem of my target audience? And how do you come up with all these different ideas?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, thank you a lot for that question. So,
can you repeat it?
Yeah, so how do we come up with the ideas for this content? So it's actually a very hard process. Simon, the VP of Demand at LeanIX, has a lot of help. But we're actually searching for a content marketing manager. So if anybody wants to be content marketing manager, come up with these cool ideas like research, what's trending right now, what could be interesting for our company or whatever. We're hiring.
All right, to answer the question now, I always imagine it like this. Your customer is at a point A and they want to go to point B, and they have several hurdles and problems on the way to get from A to B. And for each hurdle, I try to build one lead magnet that leads into a product that helps them on their journey. There is a fantastic book that has recently come out called Story Brand. And it's by Dan Miller, and I couldn't recommend it more exactly for that question. Like, what is the messaging and the storyline I want my customers to understand? And this will also help you to have a great framework in your content creation.
So actually, we do have a bit more concrete of a process.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So in LeanIX, we try to think about what use cases can enterprise architects have for LeanIX. And we came up with 9, which is, for example, microservices, application rationalization, or just getting started with the whole thing. So then for each use case, we try to have at least one white paper, one poster, one presentation, and everything you can think about.
Yeah. So you can also check out your topic on Quora, and the most popular questions, the most upvoted articles usually relate to specific problems being solved. Also on other forums, but I particularly like Quora and Reddit to figure out customer problems that I can specifically solve. So, Simon, would you like that?
Just a comment on that.
Yeah, can I give you the microphone, please?
I think if you have to think too hard about these ideas, you are too far away from the customer. Because the idea generation, that's the easy part. The hard part is to create these kind of things. So we have sales has tons of ideas. They speak to customers every day, and they say, okay, they always ask about business capabilities. So do you have an example? So you know, okay, a poster that will be in demand. Or they'll do workshops and they know, okay, how does the model work? I forgot again how the model works. Can we pull that slide up? Can we pull that slide up again? Okay, a poster would be really cool. So I think most of the ideas actually come from our customer success or sales team, so we don't need to think too hard about that. So I think that would be my answer to that. Be close to the customer, talk to them, and then those things will come naturally.
Great answer, thanks. So Laura, I heard you had some fun facts for us.
Yes.
Would you like to share?
So the fun facts are: 1, endorsed pin post received more downloads. Once in a group, the group administrators usually say, okay, prepare the text for me, I will post it. And I would say like, oh, free poster, this is a poster about business capabilities, blah, blah, here's the link. And then once, one guy said, oh, hi, I'm a really close friend of LeanIX, I really like the product, and I really think you should try out this poster. So he pushed it, he gave it his endorsement, and it was a huge difference. I've never had that many downloads, and yeah. So if you can, try to get that endorsement. After that, I just faked it. The administrators asked me to give them the text, and I gave them the text, hi, CIO group, this is so-and-so, I really like this poster, and I just faked the whole text, and it works.
So, does it work better when the admins post it or when you post it?
The administrators always post it.
Oh, they always need to post it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not like on Facebook you post and they say, okay, it goes live. They actually put in the text and in their name the poster is added.
Why would they do it?
Because they're awesome. Must be. Beats me.
They do it because I cannot make also, and I can also not make a post and send it as an announcement. It has to be made in their name. And as somebody here said, it's also free content. Yeah, and usually our content is good. I'm not saying it because it's LeanIX. It's actually really good content. We get a ton of comments, so that way their value grows. And of course, there are the free posts, and you can also pay to get them. So usually when you contact administrators, you can ask them, hey, can you post this for me? They say yes or no. There's a 50-50% chance. If they say no, you say, oh, I'm willing to pay for it. And yeah, they'll usually say yes, and they'll post it for you. But still, the cost per click is way, way, way lower here than, for example, paid marketing.
Yeah.
How much is a post in a group? Like,
it really depends.
How much? Can you repeat it?
How much is a post in a group? It really depends. For example, one group I'm a part of does it officially. So it's a recruiter side who has this big CIO group, and they actually offer it. So their price is about $1,000 per pinned post.
okay, how many people are in this
200,000.
Okay. Fairly cheap, yeah.
For how long? How long is it?
It's 1 week posted and sent to the inboxes. And then there is another group which is run by somebody in India. It's not an official group. Well, it's not run by an official organization, and there for about 50,000 people, I pay 100. So it's cheap.
Okay, let's keep going.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't worry about it.
So GPZ also has a view profile option. I do not use this a lot, but it's really nice for HR people because you can just view their profile, and there are a lot of people who say, oh, so-and-so viewed my profile, let's see who it is. Then they go back, and if they're looking for a job and they see that you're a recruiter, they may say, okay, I'll add this person.
Mm-hmm.
So
cool.
I think somebody, yeah.
Did you ever advertise the same poster using LinkedIn ads as well? And do you think that the groups were still better as compared to the ads?
We have done it, yes.
What? Can you repeat?
Sorry. We have advertised the same content on LinkedIn as a paid ad and in a group. I would not say that one is specifically better than another one. For example, one downside from the groups is that having such a big target, I cannot really say I'm going to only target enterprise architects. In a CIO group, you have marketing managers looking for people. You have all sorts of people, while on paid, you can say, okay, I only want enterprise architects.
Okay. Maybe the question should be, you just said 80% come from groups, 20% come from direct messaging, right? From the good qualified leads. How much percent comes from Facebook ads in your company?
Facebook ads.
No, LinkedIn ads.
Oh, okay, LinkedIn ads. Yeah, I know that from paid in general, about another 30% of the. It's
Of
about
the total.
Yeah, it's about the same as social.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Then you can also use a tool called Linked Hub. So if you ever want to send a sequence per LinkedIn, this means that you send the contact one message, and then 1 week later you send them the second follow-up message, and then the third, and then the fourth, and the fifth. You can do this with Linked Hub. I do not do this currently, but SDRs at our company do this, because with Linked Hub you can actually prospect which people you want to contact, and then just click play, and these people will get an email sequence via LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's a really powerful tool, Linked Hub. Yeah, in addition to Linked Help or GPZ.
Yes. And the last tip is be honest. As I said before, people know when you're being salesy. Just try to be as honest as you can. Say, I put a lot of effort into this. Why don't you check it out? Give me some feedback. People love giving feedback, so they'll download it to give you feedback. And so last slide, as I said before, we are hiring. So currently we're looking for a marketing manager, content and automation, and also a graphic designer. If anybody is interested, you can either write me directly or go to LeanIX.net/jobs. I'm going to go out of the way. Yeah. And that was it.
Thank you very much, I thank you so much for not just putting fluffy cat pictures on it, but really valuable content that we can apply. And the video you showed us that actually shows you GPZ in action. That was really something today. I want to thank you very much, and I think I speak for all of you guys that we can really apply most of those tactics now when we get home. But we still have like 5 minutes for Q&A, so if you got any questions, let us know.
You said that you're sending one message per month to the people?
Yes.
Maybe you can elaborate, like what is the funnel there? Like what are the rules? Like when do you send the message? What content? And is the 10% conversion rate on the first message or in general, like on the fifth message?
So the question is, how does the messaging funnel look like? What does the 10% relate to? And why do you only do it once a month or something like that, yeah?
So in my case, I usually do it around the 15th, but that's just to have a schedule. Usually the 10% comes from, well, not usually, it comes from the first message. So as I said before, I do not use Linked Hub. I do not send sequences, but I do send the same person a message each month. But of course, if a person were to enter 3 times to download, the second and third time does not count as a conversion for me because they're already in the system. So
you convert on the first message, for example, and then you still send him new content just to engage him more, or only to the ones that didn't download anything?
Not really. It's because I usually don't filter them out, and it never hurts to send them more. But with GPZ, you can say, do not contact people that have been contacted in the first or in the last messaging round.
But in your experience, does the fifth message, for example, convert finally, or is there any numbers on that?
I don't have any because it's hard to get an overview of exactly when they convert with this tool because I can't really see, oh, I sent this person a message and then I would have to go in and see, oh, okay, it's the fifth one, so no. But I usually see that some content is better than others. One really surprising thing is it works very, very, very well for surveys. So when you ask people to fill out a survey, this is the tool. We just did one, and I got 50 people to fill out the survey in a week. And it's a long one and about SAP, so that was really nice.
So I can only second that with the survey. I sometimes have lower cost per acquisition, including the survey information. So I got a cheaper cost per lead, but I also got all the data added to the user's CRM profile from the survey as well. So surveys in combination with that probably works like that. Okay, so one last question before we wrap it up.
No questions.
Snea, please read it from the interwebs. Taking all the tools we have mentioned now, which is your number one?
It's definitely GPZ. I prefer it. It's the first contact one. As I said before, LinkedIn for me is more of a tool that an SDR would use or that I would use on an already marketing qualified lead. But for a first conversion, GPZ.
Okay, thank you very much, Laura. So, I think she deserves some feedback, so please take the time after the event to give her and myself and Snea over there, can you raise your hand? She's the magic event organizer for Pirate Skills. Please give us three your honest opinion. We introduced a new thing called the feedback box. Yeah, you guys just are really bad at giving us surveys online. Yeah, so dear Pedram from Growth Bonn, can you raise your hand? He gave us the idea, why don't you do a physical box, because he does it. I would like you to invite you to write your opinion about what you like, what you'd like us to improve, and what topics you would like us to do on the upcoming meetups. I can already see that we are going to do much more B2B related stuff in the upcoming months. If you want to use the online form, if you actually make it there, bit.ly/Pirate Skills Live. So, if you have an idea for a topic or a talk, or you would like to support this meetup in any kind of way, please get in touch with me. Here are my contact data. If you want to discuss any of the topics related today and how to implement it, I will direct you to the right people to talk to. Yeah. My phone number is more like for messengers than actually calling me, but I call back. At the end of the month, we have a workshop coming up. If you want to do like metrics for pirates in the real world with Google Analytics, we're going to talk about how to measure traffic, engagement, and conversion, setting up your goals, doing your whole remarketing setup with AdWords, and getting to know the most important aspects of Google Analytics, and if you need help to implement it. It will be a small group, maybe like 6 teams over there in that room usually. And we're gonna dig deep for a whole day. Detlef, here, you're already signed up for it. The 3rd time he's coming to one of our Pirate Skills workshops. Thank you very much for that. And if you enjoyed those meetups, in this meetup, we got the next one coming up on April 4th. Arne, can you like stand up? And we used to have this beautiful app incubator called Maple Apps, yes? Why is it called Maple?
Oh, Jesus.
Because of Juan. Arne Juan, his name. Amazing. So we built apps very systematically. We generated idea every Monday morning. Ben's job was to build landing pages, to put traffic on it, and we validated those ideas based on how many leads we got interested for that. We never wrote a line of code before we had 1,000 emails, I think. And we would like to show you the process we used to build some of our apps, and also discuss what disadvantages and advantages this kind of model had, and if we would maybe do it again or not, and in which format. So if you're more in the early stage, this is highly valuable. Also, if you're like in a corporate setting, generating new startups idea for your business. This is, I think, the most empirical method one has created in validating startup ideas. So I really hope to see you guys. Thank you all for coming today. Bye-bye. I'm looking for your feedback, guys, especially the people on the live stream. Fill out this form, please.
Zu viel. IT. Oder